How are we doing, people? Hope everyone is having a good week. And today we are talking about this comment here because this lovely person sent me a question in relation to my perspective on a 2-year fix or a 5-year fix. So I thought today let's delve into that and see if I can give you a bit more of a broader perspective as to what may be the right or the wrong choice. Everything is completely speculative, and I want to make sure that you have as much information armed for that decision as and when you come to it. So let's get into it. So to start off with, there is no wrong decision as to whether you go for a 2-year, 3-year, or a 5-year fix. The most common question that I get when it comes to deciding as to whether you go for a 2, 3, or 5 is the perspective of where the market might go in the next couple of years. Now, I have not shied away from the fact that I think the rates are going to be continuing to come down. I said this back in 2023, and this has stemmed from the experience that I had in the previous recession of 2008 to 2010. The same thing is pretty much happening, although the circumstance of the recession is different. It's pretty much a uniformed effect. So I still believe that the trajectory of the rates are going to be moving in a downward direction. Now, how does this help you decide on what you want to do with a 2, 3, or a 5-year fix? Firstly, if you're remortgaging because you bought a property in 2023, you're not going to be used to any of the rates that were south of 3% as they were prior. So in COVID years and just before that, people experienced the 1s, the 2s, and the 3% rates. You're not going to have any of that. Your first introduction to a mortgage rate is going to be probably somewhere north of 5%. So if you're going for a remortgage right now, it's highly likely that you're going to have access to a much, much cheaper rate. Probably somewhere in the early 4s. If you're lucky, you're going to be somewhere in the high 3s. Now, if you are in a position right now where you get to choose a rate between a 2, 3, or a 5-year fix, and you're seeing your rate come down from what could be 5.5% to somewhere in, let's just say, 4%, the reduction in that per month cost could be significant. It could be the best part of £150 a month, which you think, fantastic. But one of the main questions that I ask every single customer that goes for a remortgage is, how comfortable have you been paying that per month cost over the last 2 years? If I get a response from them that says, yeah, it's been absolutely fine because they've grown accustomed to paying that amount, then I do suggest to that customer, is it worth actually exploring the concept of reducing your overall mortgage term? And I explain to them the saving that you make in interest throughout that term. So to put it into even more of a perspective, today we were speaking to a customer that was on the cusp of deciding whether to take a £219 reduction in their per month cost or maintain the same per month cost and take 10 years off their mortgage. Each year, the interest payments on that mortgage came to £7,800. So over a 10-year window, we was able to take £78,000 off of interest from their mortgage payments if they went down this one cycle or this one remortgage route. Now, fortunately for this customer, the per month cost didn't really affect them too much. So they were very, very comfortable and they were happy to do it. They even suggested paying an additional £35 a month to try and take off another 2 years. All of this could be helpful to you because if you find yourself in a similar situation and you get to take 10 years off your mortgage, when you first bought the property in 2023, and let's assume the person at that age was 33 years of age and they went for a 40-year mortgage, they would have been expected to have that mortgage paid off by the time they were 73. In this one remortgage cycle, they've now reduced that to 63 and saved £78,000 in interest payments. If we are lucky enough to do this again in the second cycle and take another 10 years off, all of a sudden they're going to have their mortgage paid off by 53. And who knows, if it happened again, you could have your mortgage paid off by 43. That is absolutely wild to even suggest that you could pay your mortgage off half as quick by doing it in this exact format. And this all stems from maintaining the same per month cost. You can go down a different route, which is to take the reduction in your per month cost and continue to overpay for a period of time. Now, there is no exact math to how much you overpay by 1 month to how much it takes off your mortgage because it doesn't work that way. In terms of how it does work though, if you found yourself in a position where you wanted to take the reduction in the per month cost and you, for maybe a year, because work is going really good, you want to overpay by the exact same number that you did previously, you can do that. You would simply call up the bank and just say to them, I want to actually overpay by that £150 a month or maintain the same per month cost that I did last time. And that way, if for any reason times get a bit hard and you cannot afford to keep making that payment, you can simply call up the bank and ask them to reduce the per month cost to the number that you initially would have spoken about and got it down by £150 if you need to. Now, if you are buying a property and you're debating between a 2, 3, or a 5-year fix, your hand might get forced. You might have to go down the route of a 5-year fix because if you go for an option like Helping Hand, they will put you on a 5-year fix specifically, but they can give you 6 times up to your income. So it could be that you have to be committed to a 5-year fix if you want to maximize how much you want to borrow. But if you have the freedom of going for a 2 or a 3-year fix, I would more than likely advise you to go down that route because you'll have a sooner opportunity to be able to capitalize on a cheaper rate. But the feeling of whether you go for a 2, 3, or a 5 should 100% come down to how comfortable you feel for that period of time. If you're buying a forever home, let's say, then a 5-year could be perfectly sufficient for what you need. If you're buying a stepping stone or your first property, then you might want to go for a 2-year fix whilst you adjust to the concept of owning your own property. There is a lot more cost that you're going to have to incur when you own your own place versus when you rent. I haven't even touched on the concept of a tracker rate, which again is a fantastic opportunity for you to be able to stay as flexible as you possibly want. So if you decide to go for a tracker, most of them come with no early repayment charge. You have the freedom to be able to chop and change from a tracker to a fixed rate in 6 months time, a year time. So let's say we're all pleasantly surprised and middle of 2026 we get a reduction of a rate to somewhere in the realm of 2.5%. You have the freedom to switch to that rate. If it's with the same lender, or assuming affordability and criteria fits and credit score is good, we can remortgage to another bank entirely. Being on a tracker allows you to do that. If you're going through a renovation project like the way I am right now, you might want to have flexibility to be able to remortgage and pull cash out where you need to if you don't have enough funds to complete the project. And you having a tracker allows you to do that with no early repayment charge. So what I'm trying to say here is that there is no wrong answer. There is an answer that suits you. There is a rate that suits you. And the only way that you truly determine what rate does suit you is you speaking to a competent broker. You need to make sure you give that broker as much information as you possibly can about your circumstance, about where you see your life going in the next couple of years, what the plan is, what the goal is. The buck doesn't stop with this transaction. Certainly with us, everything carries on, and we are with you for as long as you have a mortgage. And as long as you're happy to work with us, we are always going to be with you to make those decisions. So if you say to me, this year, I actually intend to start a family in the next 5 years, me and my partner are looking to do X, Y, and Z, and we're looking to have this, that, and the other, then it could be that I say to you in that moment, you know what, a 5-year fix is probably going to be best for you. If you say to yourself, actually, I want to upsize, I want to potentially go for another 2-bedroom flat or a 3-bedroom house at some point in the future, then it could be that a 2-year fix is going to be best for you. The decision reliant on your circumstance, and all we can do is give you the best advice in that moment. So make sure you speak to a competent broker, make sure you ask as many questions, and make sure you have every possible option that's on the table.